4.5 billion years ago, the Earth was formed. It looked nothing like this. It was a hot volcanic mess with no free oxygen and liquid water in pretty short supply. But as the planet starts to stabilize and cool down, the oceans begin to form, coating the planet in this layer of a thermally stable compound that could dissolve stuff. And it was this compound, liquid water, that opened the door for life. Heat and lightning started to make organic molecules from inorganic ones spewing out of the Earth's crust. And it was this combination of molecules swirling in the primordial soup of the early Earth that formed the basis of life as we know it. So how did we get from a bunch of molecules to where we are today? Well, once we skip over the fairly monumental step of arriving at self-replicating cellular life, the answer lies in one of the most powerful processes that drives biology, and has driven it for the last 3 billion years: evolution by natural selection. The concept is simple. Tiny mutations, changes to the DNA code, appear in one individual in a population. Now, usually this is not a good thing. Mutations are generally harmful. They make individuals less fit, less likely to survive, and so the gene dies with the individual. But sometimes, just sometimes, a mutation will create a version of a gene or an allele which gives that individual a benefit. It becomes better adapted than those around it, outcompeting them and becoming more likely to reproduce, passing on that allele to its offspring. Repeat this for generation after generation, and we go from single bacterial cells to those that keep their DNA safe in a nucleus, to multicellular organisms, and 3 billion years after life first appeared, you and me. Now, let's imagine for a second that I am a moth. Dainty little thing in the part that I was born to play. Specifically, I'm a peppered moth living in pre-industrial Manchester. The air is clean, the trees are covered in lovely lichen, and my speckled wings camouflage me beautifully. Now, occasionally a mutation pops up in the speckled moth family, which produces an individual with pure black wings. Not good news, because along comes Mr. Blackbird and he'll have him for lunch. No breeding then for the black moth, and that mutation is swiftly removed from our population. But then, along comes the Industrial Revolution. Soot is being churned out of factories and turns the trees, along with pretty much everything else, black. Suddenly, that same mutation gives my black moths the perfect camouflage. Now it's me and my speckled wings that stand out, while my darker cousins survive and breed. More of the next generation get the allele for black wings, and eventually the vast majority of the population is black. And as the air got cleaner with better industrial practices, the trees gradually became a better place for the speckled variant, and the whole process starts again. And this is a story that's been repeated for every trait in every organism living on Earth. Mutation creates variation. The best adapted reproduce, and those alleles are passed on, getting more and more frequent in a population. We're all the product of millions of tiny, useful mutations. And through this beautifully simple process, every species on the planet has adapted to be successful in its own niche. And that is evolution by natural selection. We'll see you next time.